Picture this. You are sitting alone in your apartment, the morning light filtering through half-closed blinds, a cold cup of coffee forgotten on the table. Your phone buzzes, or rather, it doesn't. You've sent her messages multiple attempts over the past few days, each one carefully crafted, hoping for a sign, a single spark of acknowledgement. And yet, silence. Not the loud, dramatic kind that demands attention, but the subtle, slow, gnawing absence that seeps into your bones. That is rejection, silent, invisible, but more powerful than you realize. She didn't have to say no. She didn't even have to notice you at all. Your brain already feels it. The dopamine that once spiked with her attention crashes. Cortisol floods your system, signaling threat, vulnerability, and loss. Every man experiences this, though few admit it and fewer understand it. You clutch the phone as if holding it could summon her presence, yet your own nervous system is betraying you, reacting as if physical danger is imminent. She is unaware of her influence. She walks through her day, laughing with friends, scrolling casually through her phone, a ghost of a smile flickering at a notification from someone else, completely detached from the silent storm raging inside you. Yet every man who glimpses her attention, or the lack thereof, is caught in a biological trap, hardwired by evolution to pursue, to persist, to obsess. This is not weakness. It is a biological imperative. And the realization hits you slowly, painfully. The world does not operate on fairness, only on responses programmed into your brain. You remember James, a friend of yours, who fell into this same silent abyss. He had pursued a woman relentlessly, interpreting every glance, every laugh as proof of affection. Months of hope built into obsession. He replayed every conversation in his mind, dissecting every word for hidden meaning, while his dopamine surged and plummeted with each perceived sign of interest. He adjusted his routines to match what he thought she desired. He changed the way he walked, the clothes he wore, the tone of his voice, and all of it was for a woman who never consciously orchestrated any of it. His nervous system was hijacked by absence, yet he called it love. That, my friend, is the silent power of rejection. It is invisible, yet it shapes men without mercy. And yet, from her perspective, there is no malice. She is navigating her own internal landscape, unaware that her disinterest can feel like an earthquake to another human being. She too has wiring, instincts, experiences, insecurities. The flicker of attention she gives is not a gift. It is simply part of her biological rhythm, her survival programming, her choice shaped by subtle preferences and unconscious evaluations. She seeks alignment with her instincts, a feeling of value, and sometimes the man before her does not fit. Her rejection is a reflection of compatibility, of desire, of evolutionary selection, but your mind interprets it as war. And so begins the battle within. You notice yourself overanalyzing. Every text is examined under a microscope. Every delay or ambiguous word sparks a cascade of internal dialogue. You wonder what you said wrong, what you could have done differently. Your actions shift, almost imperceptibly at first. You adjust your tone, your schedule, your body language. The gym becomes not just a health pursuit, but a ritual of reclamation. Your work, your hobbies, your very self becomes a series of tests aimed at regaining what you perceive as lost. And every failure reinforces the pain. Every perceived mistake is logged by your nervous system, cementing the emotional loop. Dopamine surges with any perceived sign of attention, cortisol spikes with every absence, and your behavior becomes a map of her influence. At the same time, she may feel a quiet disturbance herself. Perhaps she notices his persistence. Perhaps she senses a change in him, confidence sharpened, routines altered, subtle obsession creeping in. Women are not immune to influence either. Her dopamine responds to attention, her prefrontal cortex calculates risk and reward, but the mechanisms differ. She does not feel the same chemical crash with absence. She does not experience the same cortisol spikes with inattention. Her psychology is shaped differently, hardwired to filter, select, and conserve energy for survival and reproductive advantage. It is not cruelty, but design. And yet your suffering is proof that you are alive, wired correctly, responsive, reactive. Pain, in this sense, is a sign of biological fidelity. Mark, another friend, fell into a more insidious pattern. He had convinced himself that by changing himself, physically, emotionally, socially, he could reclaim the attention he so desperately craved. Morning runs, late-night study sessions, adjusting social interactions, all aimed at a woman who barely registered his existence. Every spike of her acknowledgement felt like victory, every absence, defeat. He did not see the danger. He did not see the erosion of self-esteem, the gradual hollowing of autonomy. He was, in effect, training himself to be reactive, a puppet to absence and presence, dopamine and cortisol, attention and indifference. And this is why the warning signs are crucial. Men often ignore them. Delayed responses, subtle avoidance, inconsistent engagement. These are not minor inconveniences. They are signals, biological indicators, red flags that your internal reward system is being manipulated, whether intentionally or unconsciously. The limbic system will push hope over logic, making you blind to reality, and the emotional mechanism will spin a web around you. Every man has faced this, watching a smile fade, noticing crossed arms, seeing her gaze drift elsewhere. Each subtle gesture is a strike against the ego, an invisible lesson in reality. In modern society, these patterns are amplified. Social media, dating apps, the culture of constant comparison, these all conspire to magnify emotional vulnerability. Every like, every fleeting comment, every notification becomes a currency of validation. Men trade self-worth for ephemeral acknowledgement, building towers on shifting sand. Women participate in this system, consciously or not, reinforcing cycles of attention and neglect, desire and absence. The result is an internal battlefield where men fight shadows and women navigate currents they barely notice. Yet, if unrecognized, collapse is inevitable. Nights become restless, focus erodes, anxiety seeps into routine life. Emotional energy drains into obsession, frustration, and despair. Dopamine crashes, cortisol spikes, and the internal dialogue becomes a torrent of self-blame, hypothetical scenarios, and imagined faults. Tom, another acquaintance, spiraled into this abyss, replaying past interactions, imagining mistakes, constructing invisible chains that bound him to someone who never sought to control him. His collapse was silent, like the rejection itself, a quiet erosion of self-worth. But there is a bitter truth. All women reject. Some consciously, some unconsciously. It is not cruelty, it is nature. Your suffering is proof that your programming is intact, that your instincts are alive. Acceptance is not resignation. Acceptance is clarity. It is the recognition that biology is honest, unyielding, and impersonal. Emotional pain is evidence of function, not failure. Observing female behavior without attachment, understanding patterns without judgment, and separating value from attention, these are the first steps toward mastery. From her perspective, there is a lesson too. Awareness of how subtle signals affect men, the responsibility of acknowledgement, the empathy required to navigate another human's internal storms. These are her challenges. She learns, as he does, about the consequences of absence and presence, the hidden influence she wields, and the unconscious dance of attraction and detachment. Both are shaped by biology, experience, and culture, yet each must navigate the emotional consequences. The solution is not avoidance, but transformation. Channel the energy triggered by absence and rejection into self-mastery. Strengthen the body, sharpen the mind, cultivate emotional resilience. Let dopamine be fueled by personal achievement, not someone else's indifference. Let cortisol train you, not destroy you. Observation without attachment becomes a tool, not a torment. Masculine presence is regained through autonomy, self-respect, and deliberate focus. This is how a man transcends the silent power of rejection. He becomes unshakable, guided not by absence but by choice, not by longing but by mastery. Imagine walking into the world shaped but not broken, each rejection etched into experience, each absence a lesson, each ignored message a teacher. You are no longer reactive, no longer a pawn to biological impulses, but a craftsman of your destiny. Silent rejection will always exist. It will always sting, but it will no longer define you. She may reject you, yet you remain unbroken, autonomous, and aware. Pain becomes fuel, absence becomes guidance, and the biological machinery of longing is redirected toward growth. And in this shared human theater, she too learns, whether consciously or unconsciously, about the impact of her choices, about the invisible ripples of attention and neglect, about the subtle power of presence and absence. Together, both men and women navigate these currents, biological imperatives intertwined with social constructs, pain and joy, rejection and connection. The world is neither fair nor cruel. It is biological, emotional, and cinematic. Every heartbeat, every glance, every silent rejection is part of a vast, invisible story, shaping men without mercy, teaching lessons without instruction, guiding growth without clarity. And when the dust settles, when the emotional storm has passed, the man stands taller, the woman more aware, and both are wiser for it. Acceptance, resilience, and self-mastery are the ultimate victories. The silent power of rejection is no longer a trap. It is a teacher, a mirror, and a catalyst for transformation. You close your phone, take a deep breath, and look into the soft morning light. The coffee is still cold, the room quiet, but something inside you has shifted. The lesson is learned. The pain acknowledged, processed, and redirected. You are no longer a slave to absence. You are free, you are whole, you are alive. Brother, sister, remember this. Silent rejection is not your failure. Every absence, every ignored message, every glance that fades, it's a lesson, a teacher, a mirror. You are shaped but not broken. Pain fuels growth. Absence sharpens awareness. Stand unshakable, live unbound, and let the world see your mastery. You are alive. You are enough.